Hey everybody, and welcome to Freelancers. I'm going to be covering supplies to start selling on eBay and Amazon, a beginner's guide in 2020. I'm going to cover just the basics of physical supplies that you need, and as well as some digital supplies that you need that you might be overlooking. There's a lot of different products that you need, but the cost, you're generally going to stay underneath $100. And what you might want to do before you get started is to subscribe to that channel. You can find that on the bottom right here, and make sure to follow with the notifications on and things like that. But I'm going to jump right into it here. That one of the most important things that you would need is the supplies. Now, a lot of people go and they're thinking, well, I need to go out and go to the thrift store and go to this place and go to that place. But the reality is, you might have the products that you need at home, at least to initially start your inventory supply line. And with eBay, they offer what is basically, at this point, as of 2020, a 50 free listing. So it costs you absolutely nothing other than a final value fee, which is basically a percentage that they take out for after you sell your item, but they don't take out anything during the listing process or anything like that, at least for the first 50 of them. Then you have listing fees and things like that if you want to extend beyond that. And I'll get into that in another video, but I'm going to focus on the physical supplies aspect here. That some of the basics that I use, obviously you need the envelopes, padded envelopes, or for whatever you're selling. A padded envelope, larger one, covers most smaller media stuff. Keep in mind with shipping costs getting kind of pricey that you're going to have a bulkier cost when you're going through anything that's above I don't know, like 2 to 5 pounds. So if you're looking for selling heavier items, keep that in mind when you're buying, because when you're going to try to sell it online, you're going to have to account for massive shipping costs, and you also have to cover for taxes and things like that to make sure you're still net profit. You got the Google on as well. You can use that, or you can use other things, but that's to remove stickers. That's to remove just the things that you just want to get off there to make the package or product look nicer. Scale is pretty common sense. You want to weigh the item to make sure you know what the cost is going to be 100%, because you'll have weighed the item ahead of time on said scale. Of course, a lot of people will suggest you can do media mail. Media mail is nice for educational products, but you can't do that for things like video games. You can't do that for a lot of different things. It's priority mail is usually best to go with, also because it's 1 to 3 business days. Media mail is a little bit slower, and they don't handle your packages very gently. You're going to get mixed in with bulkier, heavier products. So if you have something that's breakable in there, it's not recommended to do. And it's recommended to stick with priority mail, even if the cost is a little bit more, because not only is your buyer going to be happy, but you're also going to get less returns and less liability on that end. And of course, you can also consider insurance on said package to protect it and insure it. I would recommend only getting insurance if you're selling something that's over $20, $30. If it extends beyond below that point, it's not really worth it to get insurance on something that's $5 to $10. I wouldn't even necessarily recommend selling anything below the $10 marker, simply because of what the shipping costs are, what taxes are, PayPal fees, and all those kind of things that people don't really think about when they're starting out with eBay and selling online or Amazon. Of course, other things to mention: packaging tape. Packaging tape is pretty straightforward. You use that to package your package. Some of them have adhesive strips, like the envelopes that I get, that you can seal it, but then you need to tape the label on. You can get packing tape for like $1 at most stores. I use the Duck brand, but it's up to you. Of course, you'd want a computer. You don't really need a high-end computer to do Amazon or eBay selling. You can use a generic laptop, something that can send a signal to a printer or what have you. You need scissors too to cut the tape, and just a basic office setup. Boxes, pretty straightforward. You want boxes for listing stuff that you've already listed, and then you want boxes for stuff that's out to ship. And then you want a third box there for stuff that you might be considering to ship in the future. And that's about all my setup, at least in regards to eBay, that I do. You also want to avoid getting too much inventory, and you want to make sure you're selling stuff that sells quick. Printer paper, as I mentioned earlier, pretty straightforward, and a printer because you print out shipping labels. You can get adhesive paper if you'd like. It's pretty straightforward adhesive paper. You send it through the printer there, and then it peels like a sticker, and yeah, put it on the package. I personally find the taping the label on just a little bit safer, just in case the adhesive, for whatever reason, wears out due to weather, whether excessive heat or rain or what have you. A lot of them guarantee that they can handle that, but you have packaging tape on top of packaging tape to make sure that the label stays on there. You can do both if you want, where you get the adhesive tape. You get the adhesive paper plus the packaging tape, but that is up to you if you want to do something like that. Of course, you need some way to get paid. PayPal is the best, most efficient way to do that. Through eBay, at least. Through Amazon, you have a little bit more of a variety of choices, but through eBay, if you want to get paid quick and you want sort of security through you as being the seller of said item, PayPal is about the best you can get, at least for eBay, anyways. Outside of that, there's not a whole lot else to mention. You got to make sure that you're covering your cost basis. Keep in mind that not only is there eBay fees, there is fees for PayPal, and then you have taxes as well. So if you sell a $10 item and you are in a 20% bracket, you're already immediately losing the 20% on the taxes. You're already losing $2. Then you're losing maybe $1 or so on the fees for PayPal and eBay, possibly more, depending on what you're shipping and how you're selling it, and a whole lot of other stuff like that. Then you have fees for insurance and you have fees for shipping. And all these fees add up, so you want to make sure that when you're selling, you're still at a net profit margin, and some of that can be overwhelming to keep track of. There's various tools, and as I find any, I will make sure to list them in the description below. But essentially, you want to ultimately make sure that whatever you're shipping, whether it's a big box of something or whether it's something small, that after the end of the day there, that you're still net profit. There's a lot of places that you can get different items. I'm going to be covering that in a different video. This was just to focus on the supplies aspect of eBay. I don't want to get too much into detail about the other stuff because I wanted to break this down into more of a series so that you guys can come in and say, hey, I found which supplies I need. Now, how do I start a store? And how do I build up my feedback score and things like that? These are all separate videos that are more isolated. A lot of people like to shove them all together. Other people like to mention higher end products so that they can get better money through Amazon affiliate links and things like that. But I'm keeping it pretty straightforward here. Essentially, in the end of the day, you need packing tape, you need an envelope, and you need a printer, and you need a computer to print off said items. You can actually technically operate your eBay, Amazon business through a mobile phone, but I'd recommend a computer to better track your sales and things like that. Trying to keep track of all that through a phone and a printer is kind of a little bit rough. But if you want to operate through your business and you don't have a computer, but you do have access to a printer, you can do that. Or you can also consider going to a library, but that just seems like a hassle, especially on days where the library might not be open or might be closed for various holidays, things like that. So it's best to just kind of have your own computer, your own printer, your own packing tape, your own envelopes, and things like that. And make sure you have all of that before you start selling on eBay or Amazon or whatever platform that you might be considering for selling your different items. You can consider selling through other methods as well, but I just wanted to cover these basic ones. Appreciate you guys listening in and have a great day. I think that's all I wanted to cover. Make sure to comment below if you have any questions or any other supplies that you personally use that you want to recommend to others, whether it's digital or physical tools that helped you to get started with eBay or just selling online in general. Thanks. See ya.